What is up there? Sea of Red Sports back with more football videos for this season. The 2021 college football season is just around the corner and it looks like we'll be returning to a normal season. So in this video I would like to do my prediction for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. If there are any teams you want me to predict before the start of the season, comment down below. I know I don't have much time to do the videos, but I'll do as many of them as I can. Comment down below. We'll see about doing some teams and seeing what I think of some teams. But anyway, even if I don't get to do those, I'll at least do a conference roundup video where I give my predictions for each team in the conference, and I'll do the Power 5, maybe do like a quick Group of 5 recap. But I want to do Nebraska because they're my team, and I want to give a prediction. So this season, it's going to be an interesting season for Scott Frost. This could be the very first one where he is somewhat on the hot seat, particularly with the NCAA violations that have just come out, and will be interesting to see what happens with that. He does, though, have what I think will be his best team yet. He has fourth-year starter in Adrian Martinez, who has been good at times, bad at times. I do like what they've done in the offseason. He's gone more slim, he's gone faster, he looks better. We'll see if that translates to anything on the field, but he did look better towards the end of last year as well, so hopefully things get better. We also have a really deep running back room. So none of them really have a lot of experience except for Marquis Stepp, but he is injured, so he is unlikely to get the start in my opinion. I think Gabe Auburn, true freshman, will actually get the start. He looked very good in spring camp. He looked good in fall camps. Jarkas Yant also looks good. He'll probably get in the rotation. Marvin Scott III is really the only experienced running back coming back at Nebraska, and he has opportunities. And then Marquis Stepp, I think, will get in the rotation. So this could definitely be a running back by committee this year, but I do actually believe that Auburn will get the start. So that's what I think about running back room. Our wide receiver room is also really talented, but again, unproven as of yet. And that's why I think Nebraska is actually going to surprise a lot of people offensively. Because defensively, we kind of know what to expect. It's going to be a good unit this year. I think it'll be a top 25 defense, particularly with 5-star Ohio State transfer coming in. He's going to really help bolster up that linebacker position. JoJo Doman is back. We have quite a few very talented players like Cam Taylor-Britt, probably the most talented player on the entire team. It'll be interesting to see who they put on the other side of the field from him. I do think it will be the 5-star transfer from Ohio State, Tyke Johnson, but we'll see what happens. Nebraska should be good defensively. I'm not really concerned about that. Ben Stille will be the center on the defensive line. He's actually pretty decent, and we have a lot of talent rotating in and out, so I think we're going to actually be pretty good. I think our defense will actually be able to rotate bodies in and out and stay fresh, which will give us an advantage throughout the season. And our offense should be better than a lot of people expect. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to make a lot of mistakes. That's what happens when we put out rookies. But they have a lot of talent, and some of them have been sitting for a while. They've been waiting their turn. And so I think offensively we're going to be a lot better than people expected, particularly now that Adrian Martinez has actual weapons to throw to, and he has shown that when he actually has talented players to throw to, he actually performs decently well. Take a look at the 2018 season if you want evidence of that. For wide receivers, we have Xavier Betts, who had an incredible jet sweep 45-yard touchdown against Penn State last year. I expect to see more of that. We also have Omar Manning, who was a very highly recruit coming out of high school. He did sit out last season, so he will be able to play this season, I believe next season as well. He should be really good. I actually think he'll probably be our top wide receiver just because of his size and his ability to get the ball. That's sort of thing that Adrian Martinez needs because he isn't the most accurate quarterback. And then we are going to have the Montana transfer, Samari Torrey. He'll be probably walking the slot in the middle a lot, so he'll probably play a lot like a tight end. But I think that he will have a lot of yards, and this offense, I think, will be able to get the bigger chunk plays. We weren't really able to do that last year, but I think we're going to have those big play abilities this year more than we did last year, which I think is going to spread out the defenses that we play a bit more. At the tight end position, Austin Allen returns as well as Volkolek. Both of those are decent. Austin Allen, I think, is actually going pretty good. In fact, this is probably the best not wide receiver, but tight end room we've had in 10 years. So that's just how bad Nebraska has been at the tight end position. But I think we'll be pretty good this season. So that's my thoughts on the personnel. Taking a look at the games. This is a brutal schedule. There aren't too many teams who have to play 2 preseason top 5 teams. There's only a few other teams. I believe Arkansas has to play both Alabama and Georgia this year. So that's pretty tough. And then there was a team that has to play both Georgia and South Carolina. Georgia and Clemson. That's, I believe Georgia Tech has to play both those. That's a pretty tough draw. But anyway, Nebraska is definitely up there with the toughest schedules in the country. And then we also have to play ranked Wisconsin and Iowa. Of course, those are games we usually have to play because they're in the division. But overall, not the best draw from the Eastern Division where we have to play Ohio State. I don't know why they keep drawing Ohio State every single year. I suspect they do it just because of the TV matchup. That's like something a lot of people want to watch. Michigan, that's going to be a tough game. And Michigan State. Michigan State is better than people are giving the credit for. They're not going to be great this year, but I think they will be fairly competitive. If they have an improvement at quarterback, like their quarterbacks actually walk out the season, they could have a decent year. But I don't think it's going to happen. But I think they will be competitive in every single game. Well, except for maybe a few. They're not going to compete for Ohio State, things like that. But, so let's get started with these predictions. That's what you really want to see. So, Illinois, this is a road game. And this will be against the Fighting Alumni on Saturday the 28th. This will be a Week 0 game, which is really exciting to see. And Nebraska will be opening the season for all college football to see. A lot of people are going to watch this. This will be a noon kickoff local time. And this will be on Fox. Now, an interesting trend in this game series is that the away team has won the game in the last several seasons, going back all the way to, I believe, 2017, 2016. And I think that trend actually continues. I think the Cornhuskers pick up a win against the Fighting Brett Bielema's and a very senior-laden Illinois team that I think will be very good this year. I expect this game to be close. Because they do have Brandon Peters at quarterback, who is decent. He's at least stable. You know what to expect from him. He's not going to make a lot of turnovers and mistakes. They have a good running back. They have a good running core. And they have Brandon Hightower at receiver. He's going to be very good, and he has given Nebraska issues in the past, and I expect that to continue. However, I think this defense for Nebraska is going to make the difference. I think our offense struggles in this game. I think this is probably a lower scoring game. Probably something like 23-21, Nebraska will win this game. Very close game, though. And I think Illinois is going to be better than people expect. They could even make a bowl game. So don't be surprised if Illinois surprises a lot of people. And I wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska loses this game. But just my gut reaction, my gut feeling tells me Nebraska is going to win this game. And this could be one of our better wins of the season. Next up, we have Fordham. The Fordham Rams come to Lincoln on September the 4th. This will be an easy game. This will be on Big Ten Network, and this will be the 11 a.m. local time game. Nebraska's going to destroy Fordham. I mean, what can you say? This is a FCS program that has not been great, even at that level. Nebraska is much more talented. And I'm just going to say with this right now, if we do not win this game by at least 40 points, I'm going to be disappointed because Nebraska should beat Fordham 56-0. That's the sort of thing we should be doing to this team. However, I think we will still have some offensive struggles, but I think in the second half we pull away, we get a big lead, and I think we win this game 49-7, which in my opinion would be an acceptable score. That would be something I'd be pretty happy with. That's the sort of result we should be having against these lower classification schools. The following week, we had the Buffalo Bulls coming to Lincoln. Now, this has been a team that's been pretty solid. Yes, they have a new coaching staff. They had a lot of roster turnover during the offseason. But Buffalo has been pretty solid in the MAC the last several years. This game will be on September 11th at 2:30 local time. And this game will be on the Big Ten Network as well. This could be a closer game than people expect. However, I do think that the Buffalo Bulls are going to be trying to figure some new things out. And I think at this point, we're going to start to see the Nebraska offense figure some things out. Defense, I think, will be fine. I am slightly concerned if they have a decent running back this season. That could be an issue for us because we tend to get torched on the ground game by teams. That's what I've noticed, particularly last season. Hopefully, that is not an issue this season, but I think this game could be close, though. I do expect, though, Nebraska to be able to comfortably win this game. It could be close, but I think we pull away in the end. We get a nice lead, or maybe we even get a lead, but then they kind of come back a little bit, but it won't be enough. Nebraska will win this game. I predict the score will be 37-24. Closer game than people really expect it to be, closer than it should be, really. But I do think this game could be close. There's a possibility Nebraska blows out Buffalo, and there's a possibility we even lose to them. But my gut reaction is that we'll win this game, and we'll start the season 3-0. That is the most likely scenario. Heading into one of the greatest rivalry games of all time, Nebraska and Oklahoma finally coming back. Nebraska travels to Oklahoma on the 18th of September. This will be the 11 a.m. big Fox game, local time. This will be a big game, pretty exciting one too, as it resparks the great Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry sip. When I started to become a Cornhusker fan, this was a game that was still going on back 2009, 2010. And I didn't really understand rivalries at the time, but now that I do, I really am excited to see this come back. This will be the first time that I'm really paying attention to this rivalry sip game. However, I don't really see this going super well for the Cornhuskers. I see Oklahoma getting a pretty big win. However, I think this will look a lot like the Ohio State game last year, which was the first game of the season for both teams. I think Nebraska will keep this close for about a quarter and a half. But eventually Oklahoma's superior talent and roster will take over, and it will look like they blew out Nebraska, but if you watch the first half of the game, it will actually be fairly close. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think Oklahoma wins this game 48-23. That's the sort of score I think. It could be bigger. They could win by, say, 40 points. But I think it could be a bit closer than people expected. I think Oklahoma's defense is still a little bit suspect. Yes, they will be better than they were, but I don't think they're going to be as improved as a lot of people expect. The following week, Nebraska plays Michigan State on the road. 2 tough road games, back-to-back. And that will be in East Lansing on September 25th. The time for the game has not yet been determined. Although if I had to guess, it'll probably be something like about a 2:30 p.m. game. Interestingly enough, Nebraska historically has had a great time with Michigan State. We've always kept the games close, or we've beaten them. I believe Nebraska is currently 3-2 against Michigan State since joining the Big Ten. We have played them a lot, and the games have been really close between these two teams. I think this will be another close game. However, I think Nebraska will have a little bit of hangover from that loss. In fact, generally, I think Nebraska will have streaks this year where we win several games, lose several games, that sort of thing. And I think this will be our hangover loss from Oklahoma. This will be the sort of thing where Oklahoma beats us twice. It's 2 back-to-back road games. Michigan State does have a decent wide receiver core. The quarterback's pretty bad. But Nebraska, currently, I don't trust them enough to be able to pressure the quarterback. If we were able to pressure the quarterback during this game, I think the Cornhuskers win, and I think we win easily. And I don't trust our ability to blitz the quarterback, so I think they were able to get some passes, and they were able to get just enough to beat Nebraska. This is probably a relatively high-scoring game, but I think the Spartans win 31-28 is my predicted score on this one. We now move into the month of October. The Cornhuskers are 3-2, still searching for a bowl game, and they host the Northwestern Wildcats on the 2nd of October. This game will be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which will be 6:30 p.m. local time. The TV network is yet to be determined for this game. In fact, only the last 3 games from here on out have been determined for a TV part of the Wisconsin, Iowa, and Big Ten conference title game, which of course we're not going to make it to the Big Ten conference title, just a spoiler warning. But our Iowa game and Wisconsin game have networks decided, but here in this stretch from Michigan State through to Ohio State, there has not been a TV network assigned yet. But Northwestern Wildcats come to Lincoln on October 2nd. This will be a 6:30 p.m. local time game. And Northwestern Nebraska is one of the most underrated rivalries in the entire country. These two teams have played very close in the last 10 years, with I believe only one of those games, I believe the 2012 game, that was decided by more than one score. And so these have been close games, and recently the Cornhuskers and the Wildcats have been going back and forth with winning. So the Cornhuskers won in 2017, the Wildcats won 2018, Nebraska won 2019, Wildcats won in 2020. I think the Cornhuskers pick up a win here at home. Again, I think it's a really close game. Probably a fairly low scoring game. I think there's a lot of mistakes made on the offense both sides. But I do think it'll be slightly higher scoring than some of the recent matchups we've seen. So I think it'll be a Cornhusker win. Fairly close one. I think Nebraska wins 34-31. Yet another game is decided by less than one score. Many of these games have been decided by a field goal. So I expect this game to be no different. I expect the Cornhuskers to win. But I think we're going to start to see Nebraska's offense start to kind of click at this point. Defensively, we should be good, so we should be able to stop their offense. But I think our offense is better than what Northwestern has. Keep in mind, they are losing a lot of players this season, including 2 defensive players that went in the first round of the NFL draft. For a smaller school like Northwestern, it'll be hard to recover from that. They also lose their starting quarterback, who's actually pretty good last year. They do get another transfer. We'll see how that works. Sometimes the transfer route has worked for them, sometimes it hasn't. They are getting, I believe, Ryan Helinski from South Carolina. He was actually pretty good at South Carolina. And considering the fact that he's going to Northwestern, another school that plays a similar defensive and offensive scheme, I think he'll actually fit pretty well at Northwestern. I think he'll actually be pretty decent. I don't think he'll be great, but I think he'll be decent. And so, again, I expect another close game, but I do expect Nebraska to win. And then the following week, Nebraska will host the Michigan Wolverines, October the 9th. This game has not yet been decided, but I think it will be a night game. This will be Nebraska's big opportunity to host a night game that could probably be close. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Ohio State game is a night game as well, but I mean, the Buckeyes are just going to blow us out. I mean, what else do you expect? You can count that as a loss right now. But Michigan is a team that's really similar to Nebraska in where they are. They've got the head coach who was a favored son, great player in the past, who has come to coach the team and has not really lived up to expectations. Now, of course, Nebraska has overall been worse than Michigan, but both teams are looking really for the coach to actually do something this year, and if he doesn't, they're getting fired. I think this is a pivotal game for both programs. And I think this will be a closely hard-fought game because the loser of this game loses their head coach. And wouldn't surprise me if he gets fired at the end of the season or right after this game. Now, home field advantage is going to be huge this season. You might have noticed that I've picked Nebraska to win most of their home games and lose most of their away games. The reason for that is people are going to be hungry to see football back, and there are going to be some wild crowds. Nebraska has one of the more wild crowds in all college football, one of the louder crowds. I think this game will be extremely close. Michigan has a lot of similar questions to Nebraska, but they have a lot more questions, and I also don't trust Jim Harbaugh in big games. Sorry. Scott Frost is disappointed in big games, but he also has been able to pull off a couple of upsets. Jim Harbaugh, not so much. And Eastern Division teams have also had a tendency to struggle against the West, particularly if they're playing kind of a nobody or somebody who's not going to be, quote, on their level. I think the Cornhuskers pull off this win against the Michigan Wolverines. I think it'll be a very close game, though. But I think that the crowd will have a huge impact on this game, and I think it will result in a Nebraska win. This is probably a little bit of a higher scoring game because Michigan theoretically should have a lot of offensive capabilities, but of course we haven't seen those players really get utilized to their full potential. And I do think Nebraska wins this game. It'll be a close game. I think the score is probably something like 35 to 32, 31, 35, 31 will be the final score. It'll be a close game, but I think Nebraska just pulls this game off. This game could easily go into overtime as well, but I think it'll be a very exciting game. And these Michigan-Nebraska games, even though they've only played, I think it was 4 times so far, have been mostly really close, except for that one game in, I think it was 2018, where we got blown out by Michigan 56-10. After that, Nebraska will travel on the road to play the Minnesota Golden Gophers on Saturday, October the 16th. Just as how I thought Nebraska would beat the Wolverines at home, I think the Golden Gophers will beat the Cornhuskers at home. In what might be a little bit of an upset, I do actually expect Minnesota to have a slight bounce back here. I think they'll be a little bit better. And I think this will be another close game, but I think the Nebraska Cornhuskers will lose to Minnesota once again. We have not had that much luck against Minnesota since joining the Big Ten. They've kind of been that thorn in our side that keeps beating us. And I think that'll happen again this season. I think it'll be another really close game. But I think we lose. This could be a bit of a higher scoring game. And I think we'll lose 37 to 31. Another good game, but I think we lose. After that, we get the first of our 2 bye weeks, and the second bye week comes at a really good position. This one comes at a decent spot too. It'd be nice actually if this bye week would come between Northwestern and Michigan. I feel a lot more confident on my pick if that happened. But this comes at kind of a not great time between Minnesota and Purdue. Nebraska does get Purdue at home. Purdue has been sort of an issue for Nebraska, particularly on the road. We've struggled against Purdue, but this game is here at Memorial Stadium, and I think we get the win over them. I don't really expect Purdue to be very good. I think this will be Jeff Brom's last year coaching at the Purdue Boilermakers, and I think Nebraska gets not just a win, but I think they get a big win. The defense is going to be terrible. Nebraska's going to be able to shred right through it. I think this could be our biggest win of the season, as far as how much we embarrass them. I expect the score to be 42-17. I think Nebraska is going to annihilate Purdue, and I think this Purdue team at this point in the season will have started to give up, and I think Nebraska will get a big win here. We will be at this point 6-2, which will clinch us bowl eligibility, which is really cool. However, look at those last 3 games. Home against number 4 Ohio State, then we get bye week. On the road at number 12 Wisconsin Badgers, and then home against the number 10 Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm going to tell you right now, we lose to Ohio State and Wisconsin. In fact, I think we get blown out by both teams. I think Wisconsin is actually a top 10 team this year, and they have a chance to win the Big Ten. Ohio State offensively should have their things figured out by this point. If this game was all in the season, I would actually consider picking Nebraska to upset Ohio State, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. Ohio State is just too good. I think they win. I think they win big. I think they beat us 45-17. The offense for Nebraska should be able to click a little bit in this game, so maybe we score more than 17, maybe we score like 24, but I just think Ohio State's got what it takes to win the Big Ten once again. And we have our bye week. This one comes at a great time, in a time of the season where we have a really tough stretch. And I think we come right out and we lay an egg against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's going to be a lot better than people expect. Ohio State, with their starting quarterback, doesn't matter who they have starting, they're going to be good. But with Wisconsin, they need Graham Mertz to be amazing, and I think he will be. And I think Wisconsin will be rolling at this point in the season. They will have the difficult games mostly behind them at this point. And I think Nebraska maybe keeps it a little bit competitive, but I think it becomes very obvious early on who the better team is. The Badgers pull away. They win this game 42-23. And then finally, the great rivalry between Iowa and Nebraska. A lot of people, for whatever reason, don't consider this a rivalry, but I do think this will be a real rivalry for Nebraska. Here on the traditional Friday game, November 26th, the day after Thanksgiving, there'll be another very close game, as it has been the entire Scott Frost era. And I think this is finally the season Nebraska defeats the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, I think I predicted this the last 2 seasons as well, that Nebraska would finally beat the Hawkeyes. But I really think this is the year. I think Iowa is overhyped. I do think they'll be decent this year, but I think Spencer Petras is not as good as people think he is. The defense and offensive line both have to replace some players. Now, yes, they're very good at doing that, but I think they will have some holes this season that some people didn't see. So I think Nebraska actually gets this win and will finish the season 7-5, which by the way would be a great season considering this really tough schedule. I think the most likely scenario, however, is for Nebraska to go 6-6, but I think we finally break through, get to a bowl game, and the Cornhuskers, we get it done, and we get this big win over Iowa, which will be the signature win of the year. Maybe we lose another game, maybe we lose to Michigan and beat Iowa instead, but I think we'll finally get to a bowl game. I think we'll have one decent win there. Nebraska is talented enough to beat somebody this year. I think we beat Iowa, and I think we sort of ruin Iowa's chances at the Big Ten Conference. However, I think because they have a fairly difficult schedule, I think they will fall victim to their schedule. I think they are overhyped this season. But I think they'll still be good. I think they'll still make a decent bowl game. But I just think Nebraska has what it takes to win this season. So those are my predictions for Nebraska Cornhuskers. What are yours? Put them down below. And tell me what other teams you want me to do. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And God bless you.